by 3 late against Minnesota. A little over 2 seconds left. Anthony Edwards, good look at a 3. Back iron instead of bottom of the net. And that's how Denver not only wins in this game, it's how they close out Minnesota 4-1. Jokic strong in the second half. He had a triple-double. Most of that damage came in the second half. Denver trailed by 15 early. They came back to get back in it in the second quarter. It was back and forth from there. Edwards, you saw him missing that last shot. First time in the last 4 games he had less than 30 points. Nuggets close out the series 4-1. With that game in mind, let's say hello to our NBA insider, Bill Reiter. Bill, that game, kind of like the game before in Minneapolis, kind of had it all. A lot of excitement, a lot of drama and suspense all the way down to the finish. What's your top reaction to what you saw?
Yeah, credit to the Timberwolves for fighting Paul. It was a valiant effort. But the takeaway is that the Denver Nuggets now move on to the part of the postseason where things get challenging. We presume it'll be the Phoenix Suns. And they've got to bring a higher level of focus. They can't get down double digits against teams like whoever they're going to face going forward. I guess on the positive side, they obviously win the series pretty easily. And it's nice if you're a Nuggets supporter to see Jamal Murray playing at such a high level. It's easy to forget with the injuries. This guy's a dynamic player. He's really, really clutch. This is somebody that Nikola Jokic needs next to him if the Nuggets are going to make the kind of run they want.
Denver came in as the number 1 seed. They advance as expected. I'm wondering, though, do you think more or less of the Nuggets looking ahead to the next few weeks than you did prior to this series starting?
Yeah, good question. Paul, I feel exactly the same way. I respect the Nuggets. I think they're a good basketball team. I don't think anyone fears the Denver Nuggets. Can they make an NBA Finals? Absolutely. Do they feel like any kind of favorite, maybe like the Boston Celtics have felt, at least for parts of this series over in the Eastern Conference? They do not. It is hard for me, Paul, when I'm talking to general managers or scouts or coaches around the NBA and just gossiping about the NBA to find anybody who is really has any conviction that this is a Nuggets team where there's a level of certainty or there's a level of absolutism that they should be considered the frontrunners. They're very, very good, but I think this series reinforces it's hard to know the level they can get to, the ceiling they have once they start facing better competition.
Thinking about those conversations you've had with people high up around the league and from what you've seen from them in the regular season and also in the postseason as they just close out the Timberwolves here tonight, is there a common theme running that you've noticed, that you've heard, that you've observed, that keeps people from having them as a great team and just keeping them in that good category?
Yeah, there's a few. One is inconsistency defensively. We certainly saw that tonight until that comeback. And we really saw it over the course of the regular season. This is a Nuggets team that at times can play not great, but solid defense. But there are also moments, Paul, really stretches of the season where they were just bad defensively. They've been very, very average. The other is Nikola Jokic. We know that he's won 2 MVPs back-to-back. We'll find out in the coming days whether he's the 3-time MVP. But he's got to be able to dominate games beyond the box score. He got that triple-double, very impressive, but he wasn't efficient. He took a lot of shots. It took a lot of shots to get to the scoring number he got to. And that needs to be, I think, improved for Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets to get where they want to go. And the third thing is he's got to get 2 or 3 guys who are star players next to him. We know Jamal Murray can do that. The question is, can Michael Porter Jr., that's who Nuggets officials will point you toward when they say he is good enough, Porter Jr., to be the 3rd best player on a championship team. He's an amazing shooter. He certainly has moments, but that level of consistency from him is going to be important for Denver to do what they want to do.
The game Tuesday night puts an end to the Timberwolves season. Let's put a bow on their season here with this conversation. What's the number one thing that you'll remember? Not so much about the Timberwolves in the last couple of games, but about their season as a whole.
Unfortunately, it's disappointment, and you hate to kick a team when they're down, but they traded an absolute king's ransom to go get Rudy Gobert. They're obviously massively talented. Anthony Edwards is a marvelous basketball player. Karl Anthony Towns is a marvelously talented basketball player. They had to battle their way in the play-in playoffs, in the play-in games to get to this series. They obviously went down 3-0 against the Nuggets and showed some heart to win in overtime last time and to make a game of it this time. But this is an organization in turmoil. They expected to be a top 4 or 5 team this year. This is not the way they saw their season going. They've invested a lot in this squad, and they're going to have to make some tough decisions about whether they have the right pieces they thought they did at the start of the year, or whether or not there need to be adjustments to get where they want to go.
Back to the team that won this series here in round 1, the Denver Nuggets, the number 1 seed in the West. Moving on, All signs point to the next round being against the Phoenix Suns. Your first thought when you consider that series?
Congratulations to the Phoenix Suns. I think you're the favorite. We'll see what Vegas puts down if that is in fact the way that it goes. And again, this series, that matchup, Denver versus Phoenix, if Phoenix advances against the Clippers, is a microcosm, Paul, of, I was going to say the Western Conference playoff picture, but right now it feels like the whole playoff picture. It's anybody's series in every series, and you can make a case for any team, I think almost literally, in the NBA playoffs to make a deep run, maybe a run all the way to the finals. And so I want to tell you the Suns are the favorite. I want to point to Kevin Durant paired with that really impressive team. But obviously they have gotten a pretty serious challenge from a Clippers team, missing Kawhi Leonard, missing Paul George. And so it's hard to know whether or not the Suns are going to put up the level of battle and the level of excellence we expected when KD got traded. So it feels on first blush like the Nuggets are in trouble against that Suns team. But man, this has been such a confusing postseason. Who knows?
Confusing and also exciting. Hopefully that the next rounds can live up to that level of excitement. Bill Reiter, thank you very much. Nuggets close out the Timberwolves with a 3-point victory. Here is the fine print. Again, Jokic struggled in that first half. Most of his work was done in the second half. Another triple-double for him. Anthony Edwards, that 29 points does look good. He missed the three at the very end, had a decent look that would have tied this one up. First time in the last 4 games he has not hit 30 points. Nuggets move on to round 2.